Beautiful people, you are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing with the right person. Hello, hello. Dr. Dale here. You guys would not believe. Before I get started, welcome to your weekly pulse check with Dr. Dale Laing-Hall. So it is so great to be here with you guys. I am so glad that you're here. I'm so glad that you're here. And it's if you're not having, I hope you're having a great day. If you're not having a great day, just give it a few more seconds, a few more minutes, a few more days, even. And I guarantee you that will change because that's how emotions and feelings work. Okay? You don't always feel the way that you're feeling right now, right? So, with that being said, you guys wouldn't believe the technology issues I've had just a few minutes before starting my live. And I didn't have for the past these past couple of days, stuff has been happening with my laptop, and now it looks like I need a new laptop, and um, I need some new plugins, all kinds of things, right? But as you guys know, we roll with the punches, and thank God for my savory phone. Thank the God. So that's what I'm on right now with you guys. That's what I'm working with. But pray for me, you guys. Keep me in your prayers. So, anyways, welcome to this week. This is the first official week of May. And if so welcome to May, in case you didn't know. Welcome to May. You're in May. Today is May 8th, 2024, roughly 12:15, 12:16 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So from wherever you are watching, for those who are watching live, welcome, right? Don't forget to comment below. Feel free to share. I am, sometimes I kind of miss the comments. But yeah, and those who will be watching the recording, also welcome and thank you. Feel free to comment, share below, like, subscribe, all of that good stuff, right? But anyways, so why we're here is this past month of May, we've been talking about the power of distribution, unlocking your emotional abundance. Good day, Miss G. Good day, Miss G. So that's what we're talking about today, right? That's the conversation. That's what we've been talking about. We started it last week in when we started in May, and this week is no different. We're going to continue the series, right? So unlocking emotional abundance through the power of distribution. And last week we talked about, you guys have to go back because we covered emotional awareness, right? We started with emotional awareness. And this week, we're going a little bit deeper, but we started with a quote from Sir Thomas. I call him Sir because he was so back in the day. It just sounds good. Sir Thomas Troward. And he said, we must look upon ourselves not as missers' chess, right? To be kept locked away for our own benefit, but as centers of distribution. And the better we fulfill our function as such centers, the greater will be the corresponding inflow. So we likened our missers, for those that don't know, we covered this last week, but just for a quick synopsis, missers is a person who hoards, right? Who spends very little and just they want to keep everything because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, right? We just want to keep everything to ourselves. So, and that's usually if the word is an old word, and it's usually it's concerning, they're talking about money, right? But we are liking a misser to your emotions, right? And you holding in, not expressing that emotion. So that's the kind of angle that we're coming with, right? And if you guys have been watching me for a minute, I compare and I see everything through the eyes of emotional intelligence, right? Why, you may ask? Because everything that we do starts with our emotions. Before you decide to buy that car, you are in love with that car. Your emotions have said, you're not logically thinking, because remember, there's a bunch of different parts of the brain, but there are two parts of the brain that emotional intelligence, kind of plays with, right? There's the conscious side, right? We gather information, we read a book, we remember what we read, we take a test, right? That's the conscious. The subconscious back here, that one, I call the subconscious, people call it usually the autopilot, right? That's the one that's really running the show. That's the one that really, the conscious is the logical. This is where you put two and two together. One and one is equals two. Two and two equals four. You know what I mean? Back here, the subconscious says, yeah, even though two and two equals four, I don't like that. I want it to equal six. Because that's how you feel, right? That's how you feel, and that is because of all of your experiences. Well, my mom told me for years and years and years and years that two and two doesn't equal five, it equals six. And it doesn't equal four, it equals six. So you are attached to your mom. You love your mom. And even though mommy was kind of wrong, got kind of wrong, she was definitely wrong. I love mom. So I'm gonna go with what mom told me. Mom told me that two and two equals six. So I'm gonna go with that because I love my mom. That's an attachment. That's where your emotions are, right? When you go to buy that car, to my point that I was trying to make before, when you go try to buy that car, you are yeah, you go with, the car, it needs to be this amount that I'm going to pay per month, and this is what my credit is, and you do all of the logical things, right? That's this. But then your emotional brain, once you're there, you're like, yeah, I know I budgeted for this car, but I want that car. That's me. If you guys can relate, let me know. That's me, right? You go to the lot of the car, and you want this Ford, right? But then when you get there, I want that Mercedes because I just got expensive taste, right? But because I gravitate to Mercedes, I feel like I will look good in a Mercedes. I've seen other people in a Mercedes, and I like how they looked in a Mercedes. And I've been in a Mercedes with other friends before, and I like how they look. So your emotions are attached to that feeling that you had when you were in that car, right? So what happens? Yeah, the logical brain is saying, this is what you should do, but your emotions is saying, yeah, but let's go this way instead, right? Let's go this way instead, right? So this week, we're talking a little bit more, we're going a little bit deeper, right? We talked about emotional awareness. This week we're talking more about dum 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 self-reflection awareness, right? Self-reflection breeds emotional regulation. Emotional regulation breeds, let me take a beat before I react. Let me proactively act. Proactively, right? So self-reflection and awareness says, self-reflection is like looking in a mirror, but looking in a mirror, but for our thoughts and feelings. They tell us what we are feeling. And some people, sometimes I've been in conversations, and they're like, who cares about emotions? Why should we care? It doesn't matter. I say what I say, and I feel what I feel, and then whatever happens, happens, and I don't care. Well, if you want to go, and that's your aim, right? To go about the world doing, feeling, saying, and don't care how people experience you, and don't care how you show up, don't not valuing, not representing your values, right? And you're out here all, you know, whatever. Great. Dr. Dale, you like it? Dr. Dale, I always say, loves it for you. If that's working for you, continue to do that. Right. But my conversations are for people who are want to make sure that they show up as their best self, that best version of themselves, whatever that looks like, right? And have 9 times out of 10, that involves them making sure that they are aware of how they're feeling and how they're showing up, right? What and perceiving. So if, especially if you're a business owner, if you're a professional in the world of work, if you're a mom, if you're a dad, you want to make sure that you are not taking your frustration out on people, right? That you are not reacting to what people are doing around you, right? Not putting people down, not putting yourself down, right? All of these things have effect on the people around you, your relationships, and yourself. Yourself, right? So at the end of the day, do you want to get a handle on it? I'm gonna say yes. You didn't know about this. Our parents didn't know about this stuff back in the day. They didn't know. They didn't know. And what you don't know, you just don't know, right? But we know better now, right? And now that we know better, it behooves us to act better, right? Act better, speak better, show up as the best version of ourselves. Like one of my core values is making sure that I have integrity with myself, integrity for being honest with other people, and honest with myself first. I wake up in the morning and I look at myself in the mirror. Do you like what you see? I i am loving what I see day after day, loving no matter what, right? It's important that you do that, because how you see yourself is how you see everybody else around you. If you are despondent, putting yourself down, constantly negative, constantly yeah, saying not so positive things about yourself, you don't have anything good to say about anybody else. In case you didn't know, notice that. Just pinpoint how you talk, right? Your words and your actions day by day. Just do a journal, right? That's what I did earlier on. I did a journal on how I was feeling and how I was acting and what I was thinking. And when I did that, after 2 weeks, I realized, I was like, man, I really don't like people. It wasn't because of that, right? It was because there were things in me, right? And do you really want to say, do you really like, if you don't like, do you love your mom? Do you love your dad? Do you love your kids? Do you love your husband, your partner, right? Do you love your friends? If you do, you would want to have them to have a better experience of you and how they're experiencing, how, like, you would want to know, hey, you know, have I done anything to offend you? Like, have you have I done anything that I didn't know that I did? Have you asked yourself, ask them that kind of question to check yourself? Because again, we all have blind spots, right? We have blind spots, in case you didn't know. So Miss G says the lack of care sounds like a cop out. Ooh, Miss G, we gonna call him out? Yeah, let's call him out. It's easy. She says it's easy to take that path. Caring requires a lot of work. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. Oh my goodness, 100%. Caring requires way more, right? And it's easy because it's your habits, right? It's the experience, what you've been doing a long time. Oh, I've always done it this way, right? That's that sentence. Oh, I hate that. I hate that sentence. If I don't hate anything else, I've always done it this way. We always do it this way. This is how I always act. So if you guys don't like it, you need to go. Doesn't sound like you have a lot of awareness. It doesn't sound like you have a lot of, it doesn't sound like you have a lot of, right? So you got to decide for yourself, what do you want to do for yourself, right? And it's important that you come to that. I tell you guys, you see what I'm saying? My technology is funky today. It's funky. Thank you guys for working with me through it. Because boy, look at here. We're gonna persevere though. Where was I? So it's important for you to Miss G point. It's important for you to want to care about what's going on, right? So the next part of our conversation is recognize our emotions. So if we'll just, it's important for you to happens to the best of us. Yeah. Oh, thanks, Miss G. Thank you so much. Recognizing our emotions. Emotions can be like you can liken it to colorful balloons floating inside of us, right? Sometimes they're easy to spot, but other times they're just not. They're hidden. They're mixed up with other things, right? Let me give you guys a perfect example. When I started, and I talk about this all the time, when I started listening in on Clubhouse, there's a room called Breakfast with Champion. If you guys don't know about it, you guys are seriously missing out. So I behoove you guys, Breakfast with Champions, thought provoking conversations, awesome people, awesome experts in their own right. When I first started listening, I popped into that room because somebody, a friend of mine, connected me to Clubhouse, and then I just started going into different rooms listening. And one of the very first rooms I went into was Clubhouse. And when I got in there, the first time I started listening, I was like, "What are these people? They were talking about hopes and dreams and life and being better and all of this stuff." And I was like, "What are they talking about? Like, what? What are they talking about?" And I stopped for, I would say, like a little over a month from going into that room. And as I started doing my journey of self discovery, self development, introspection, asking myself hard questions, I found out, I was like, because somebody else recommended me to go to. It's funny how the universe and God works. Somebody else told me about Breakfast with Champion right when I had stopped listening to Breakfast with Champion. And then I found out within myself, I stopped going into that room and listening because they were saying things that my spirit wasn't ready to hear. But when I dig deep, why why is it that it's uncomfortable? Because when you're uncomfortable in an environment, in a situation, and a person is saying something that you agree with deep down, but you don't want to say it because how you're living your day to day, it ain't matching up, right? So that's what I did. I ran away from the truth. I ran away from what these moderators and what these experts were saying, right? Because I was uncomfortable in my own skin. Mm. I was uncomfortable what they were saying. So emotions can show up in very different ways. If they were speaking negative or putting people down and just fall out, just this, being very putting people out there and just putting people down, disrespecting people, that's a different conversation. But that wasn't what it was. They were speaking nothing but in truth. La verdad, my Hispanic folks, my people will say, la verdad. They spoke the truth about me being the best version of myself, and why aren't I showing up as my best version? And I was like, I go to work every day, 9 to 5, there, but it wasn't about that. It was about, I was meant for more. I felt and I knew I needed to do more. But was I doing more? I wasn't. I was shying away, right? I was pretending that I was doing that what I was doing, because I was like, yeah, I go in my 9 to 5. When I come out of work, I'm tired. I don't want to do nothing else. I don't want to see anything else. I don't want to talk to anybody. But as I started listening, I got the courage and I started I'm like, I could just listen, right? And as I listened, I was like, oh, I see. And then my thoughts, it was like they were in my head. And some of once or twice they would say, "You're thinking it, but you're not saying it. You're called for more. What is that more for you?" And I was like, they were talking to me, right? And that's what I felt within my deep, deep, deep self. So after a while, after, I ain't gonna lie, almost 2 years, I finally heeded that call, right? I got over myself, and I called spades a spades, and I said, it's time for you to do what you got to do, and kind of really go deep into what you are really feeling about this particular situation and what you want to do with your life. And that's why I love emotional intelligence, right? Because it says, who are you? Who who why are you feeling that way? What why If you're feeling that way, why are you feeling that way? And then what are you going to do about it? It leaves you, because you think these thoughts all the time. You think, oh, I don't like her. Oh, I don't like him. I don't like this situation. I don't like this job. I don't like this manager. All of these things, right? I don't like what my sister said. Why don't you like it? No judgment. We're just asking why. And then when you go the step, that's the surface. Why? And then you go a little deeper. Oh, I don't like it because she kind of said something that, could it be true? It's up to you. You got to decide within yourself, right? Are you that petty? Are you that you really don't understand who you are? Because if you don't, the more you understand who you are, then you're able to say, I don't like being in these spaces, and I don't like being in this space because it's not adding value to me. Not because it's not adding value, because I don't feel good about what they said, because they are challenging me to be a better version of me. Anybody that's adding value and making you, encouraging you, motivating you, inspiring you to be better, that's the space you need to be in. Anybody that's doing any less than that, walk away. Don't walk away, run. That's the last sometimes, because it's true, right? Because you don't want to be in these kind of spaces. Because the minute what happens, that again, we talk about that, the mother brain, the autopilot, right? Because the more you listen to things, there's I learned something recently in an article I was reading about the brains, right? We talked about the subconscious and we talked about the conscious. The conscious brain, which is where all the information is, where you gather information and you decide, do you want to do something or not do something? Perfect, right? Where you go study something, you do the test and you pass it, right? The subconscious brain says, I'm dumb. Yes. I'm smart. Yes. I don't like her. Yes. It only accepts. If you really think about how much that affects you, then it will make you want to sit back and really take into consideration how you're showing up and what you're saying to yourself. The subconscious only accepts, it only says yes. So if your negative self-talk to yourself, about other people, about yourself, it's only going to say yes. It's not going to say, no, don't think about that. No, no, no. So you got to be my point to that is, you got to make sure that you are evaluating what your emotions are and how they're allowing you to speak to yourself and the people around you, because it will affect it. It has an effect. And one of my other articles on LinkedIn that I put out a couple weeks ago was, emotions are contagious. They're contagious. So you know that feeling you get sometimes when you walk up, you're going out with your girls and you're the last one to get there and everybody's there and you just join the group, and then everybody gets silent and they start looking around. That's That's a vibe. That's energy that you've been hearing about. That's emotions that are being dispelled. They were saying something, not saying they were talking about you, but not necessarily something that you would agree with. So that energy, that feeling, that emotion that you are getting, that is contagious. And because you felt it, what happens? It changed your mood a little bit. It allows you to, hmm, is everything okay, you guys? Yeah, everything's fine. And what happens? You put that in the back of your head and you're like, oh, wait, this is not the first time this happened. This is the second or third time. Why every time I'm joining the group or whatever, I come in and they get quiet and they start looking around and changing the subject? Hmm, that tells you something. You got to pay attention. Are you paying attention? Right? So, the last part we're going to talk about right quick is recognizing our emotions. So once you recognize it, emotions can be colorful, right? So we got to be make sure exploring the why behind our feelings. Emotions are like clues that can help us understand what's happening inside of us. They're signals that something is important to us. It's important to me that my husband expresses how much he loves me. It's important to me. So I have to make sure I tell him, hey, buddy, this is what I need so I can feel that you are there for me and you support me and you love me. And I tell him that. If you don't tell your peeps, your loved ones, how to love you, how to care for you, they don't know. Because what happens is that people express love the best way they know how based on their experiences in life. Let that sink in a little bit. That's why sometimes how I love and how my husband loves is, be a little funky, right? But I have, how do you express that? Yes, love means I care about you, but some people care and they do other things. So you have to figure out what does caring look like for you. And if you don't know what that is, in order for you to know what that is, you got to know what your feelings and your emotions are and why you are feeling the way that you're feeling, which will prevent you from reacting on other people. It will prevent you from hurting other people, right? So that's your homework for today. Journal how you are feeling every day about yourself. Do it for a week. I'll be back here next Wednesday, same time, 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. Just for 30 minutes, right? We're here for a short time, not a long time, but a good time, right? So I challenge you to go in, pencil, and you don't have to do it like every second of the day. Just when you have those high emotional, those high emotional waves, when somebody really gets under your skin, or when you are really excited, pinpoint how many times per day you are up and you are down. And when you go do that, you're going to see. And then what are you saying to yourself when you are down? Are you being merciful with yourself, graceful? Are you giving yourself space? Are you? That's the challenge. That's the question. I'm just asking, right? Because I've done this stuff. It has helped me. It has helped us, millions of others, right? I'm not the first one that did research on emotional intelligence, and I won't be the last, right? And because it has helped me, and when I sat down with those administrators in those nursing homes and these different organizations, they had the same results, right? Because wherever there's a human, emotions are going to come out. The question is, are you going to allow them to come out in a healthy way or in a not so healthy way, right? And when they come out in a not so healthy way, then you're not exemplifying your best values. You know, you're not. There is when I did my group coaching last year, I came up with this acronym called Pulse, and I'll probably talk about that a little bit more next week. Pulse is ponder, Understand, ponder the situation, understand what's really going on, check your language, show up as your best self, right? And completely engage, be engaged, right? In the conversation, in the situation, right? That is going on in front of you. And when that happens, then you walk away feeling and doing that, yeah, I did the best that I could in that situation. And when you look back, you're like, you know, I really had, I made that decision because I really did the best, not looking back at it with regret. And I really, I'm really sad that I acted that way. Now, today, if today's your first day on even considering maybe taking what I'm saying a little bit into consideration, then what's done is done. So, again, once you know better, I challenge you to do better. And I give you the homework or the tips to kind of check yourself, right? To see how you're doing. And I do have an EQ assessment that I developed, and there are a bunch of them online. So you can just Google emotional intelligence assessment to check in with yourself and see, you know, if what you're thinking, you're like, yeah, I'm great. Everybody I know, everybody that I talk to says that I'm great. Are you? You're telling me that. But the conversation is, if you're telling me that, okay, great, do the assessment, do that self-assessment, right? And then the next part is give that assessment to somebody else and let them do it and grade how you interact and how your relationship is with them based on how you treat them. And if they walk away saying the opposite of what you're saying, then that's a lot of gap, right? And it looks like you got some work to do. So if you're interested in that, I can DM me. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, all over, and I can send you my assessment and you can start there. But you have your homework, you have the assessment. I'll see you guys back here next week. We're going to end how we always end. And we're going to say that, oh, I have a group coaching that's coming up in June 19th. And it's focused not on all of the different parts of emotional intelligence, it's focused more so on relationships, mending, reconnecting, reconciling relationships, broken bonds, right? That if you want to, there's a touchy, icky situation, family, siblings, friends, that it's on your mind. If it's on your mind, meaning your subconscious, it's on your heart, that means it's important to you and you should listen, right? So that means maybe you want to bend that relationship. Maybe you don't want to mend it and then you want to be okay with walking away, right? Whatever that looks like, whatever that is. But the conversation is only 8 weeks. It starts in June 19th. And especially with all the holidays and stuff coming up, one thing I know about holidays, people gather together. And when you gather together, do you want it to be in harmony, or are you just not going to go because you don't like that person? That's another challenge for you. So this has been your weekly pulse check with Dr. Dale, your weekly pulse check. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being here. And you know that feeling that you get when the world is at peace, when you don't have to worry about tomorrow, you don't have to worry about what's next and what's going on. Everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, and you are right where you're supposed to be. That feeling is called love. And I challenge you to give that to someone today. Thank you. Bye.